What's up everyone? Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. We are going to start with some Binding of Isaac. I'm probably going to stream a Maggie run or a Kane run. I need to see what we can get done. And then from there I am going to figure out what other game I want to play. Because I very much want to be playing two games today and I don't want to only be sticking with one. That said, down the road. Right now I'm tired from work, made nachos, had a beer. Oh, man. It's always great to just like kick back, you know, just zone out. You know, it's just, you kick back in the thing and just, you let a load off, you know. Anyways. Welcome to all and everybody for joining me. Thank you very much for it. It is appreciated. And I know there's a way that you can basically do like something you can do to see your analytics. Where do I see my analytics? There's an analytics page. There we go. Stream from your browser. I don't really need to stream from I've got OBS. Got Streamlab, buddy. All good. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, I've been told live analytics are not available. So we're gonna get fake analytics. Oh, there we go. I have a view count. I have a view count, everyone. Okay. Oh, cool. Anyways, sit back, relax, take a load off. Thanks for joining me. And here's hoping we'll have a real great day. And we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how it goes. And then I'll talk through my next game. I'd love to do a Samson run as Azel. Yeah, let's do an Eden run. We'll see what we can do. I see tier detonator. I see that's the thing that protects you when you take damage, if I'm not mistaken. And I see a pull. Ooh, power pulls are pretty cool. Ooh, tier detonator. Tier go boom. Right, tier detonator, absolutely one of my favorite items. Like, I never used to understand how good it was, but then I had a greed run where I just annihilated everything. You know what would be good? The Bane item, track the beam. For some reason, it always makes me think of Bane. I know why it makes me think of Bane. It's because it looks like him. I got that whole like, good evening, Mr. UPS man. Yeah, tell me you're a fan of South Park. Without telling me. Good evening, Mr. UPS man. A man's wife is his life, you know, UPS man. Ooh. Key is good. I see one spot that it'd be. But damn. So I'm listening to a podcast, the dude's like, I'll be your nut kicker. I'm like, man, just picturing somebody, I'll be like, I'll be your nut kicker, baby. I'll kick you good, I'll kick you hard, I'll kick you smooth, whatever you want. Okay, so I think this run will be decent. We've got the matchstick, we've got a bunch of bombs, we've got some black hearts, and most importantly the tier detonator. I would love if we could be getting to the point where, you know, like Cricket's body and piercing tears. Book of Sin is okay. So we picked up Book of Sin. We're looking. We found our angel item, our null item. We're looking for the boss rush room. Aha. Cool, and we're done with this floor basically. I think I mean, not the best way, but I've had worse. Cool, we got 15. Look, it basically translates to it'd be worth it to go check out the item room. Look, Lord of the Pit puts us in a bad position in terms of like money we've got, but flying almost always pays off. Nice. And there we go. Cool. Let's see if there's anything worthwhile on here. Look, so Bookerson will occasionally give you pretty amazing payoffs. It is just, well, it's random, you know. So there's advantages and disadvantages to that, basically. If we're lucky, we can actually do pretty good with this. Can steal an item from Boss Rush. We can peep in here. Be like, huh, what's available? Nah, screw it. I'm good. No, thank you. Go away. Watch battery. Yeah, okay, look, the battery would be good, I think. Cool. Do. I want to explore a little bit more on this. There we go. That's what I was about to say. I want to get want to see about getting to the shop, and I want to see about getting into this item room here. It's okay. Nice. Bro, that black poop saved me. I would love a way to produce those, actually. That'd be really cool. Get like a I don't know. Messed up poop. Okay, yeah, some of these are good. Take that. Take that. Fuck you. Screw you, screw you, screw you, go away. All set. But I will say I'm happy about the wholesome thing that's happened with like Twitch and streamers and that, but man, it is a little bit like, I get it, but also like, damn dude, it feels forced sometimes, you know? It's a bit like, well, it's interesting that now you decided to have a wholesome chat all of a sudden, that like swearing will get your chat demonetized and your whole thing banned and you in trouble and all these things, you know? Like, it's a bit interesting, a bit weird. So we've got the High Priestess, we've got a little watch battery, okay. It happens. Poison touch. Lemon mishap. Cool, 7, which means if you've got a discounted item, we can take it. Nice. Drop that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, look, it ain't. Tain't bad. There we go, 15. Into the secret room. Bunch more. By the way, we're gonna keep the petrified poop for a little while. I wouldn't mind a bomb. Let's see if there's a bomb in here. I mean, I'm a bit upset that I can't get it, but whatever. Where we are. I hate both of these. These are both awful. Okay, so what's been on everyone's minds? I've had a good day. I've been listening to I guess a lot of like podcasts and stuff, because I tend to, you know, you gotta keep your mind busy. In my case, like, I work and sure, it's mentally stimulating, but it gets a little bit, I don't know, boring. Like, I'm busy doing some refactoring stuff at work, which for the non-programming people, so you like, you don't really change stuff per se, but you make it better. And the trick to refactoring properly is you want everything to be different without people being able to notice. It just, stuff works a little bit better and faster, you know. By the way, I do agree with people when they're like, oh, raising tax is bad. It's kind of funny, because I've met so many people that like don't understand how the hell like economics and that works, because they'll just be like, and this is a problem with the Netherlands, right? Like, they're great in many ways, this is one of the ones in which they're bad, is everybody. Like any political discussion, what do people think you gotta do? Oh, we need more taxes. It's like, why? Oh, we need more taxes though. Why? It says taxes are good, they'll fix everything. You're like, dude, taxes will not fix anything. we really don't need more taxes. No, but we need to charge extra. It's like, oh boy. By the way, I'm probably going to give up this run. This is not. But like, it's the weirdest thing, because you'll swear people who are like universally educated, supposedly know about economics. You're like, you ever heard of the Laffer curve? No, but I think they need to tax people more. It's like, you're an idiot. Like people will very happily be like, oh, but taxes. You're like, yeah, but you also don't see any gain for it. Like, in the case of the Netherlands, right? Like, it's a good place to go because of the 30% ruling. Now, you need to understand what that means. So their healthcare is reasonably good. Understand, you use the healthcare when you're older. And they have like really good study loans and stuff that's subsidized by the government. Now, if you're a foreigner and you come in on a knowledge visa, you can get 30% off, which off of your tax plus blah blah, it translates to get about 10% more. Like for the average knowledge worker, it's like, it's a little bit. It's like a couple of hundred to 1,000. Like, yeah, if you're an exec, you'll be better affected by it, obviously, but for your average person, basically it's gonna be pretty good. But anyway, so it's weird how many people I've spoken to, and they'll be like, oh no, foreigners need to pay more. And you're like, you do know the Netherlands doesn't pay well. If you remove the tax break, people don't have the incentives to come here. And people are like, yeah, they need to pay their fair share. Same as the Dutch citizens. You're like, okay, if you're a Dutch citizen, right, you're born here, you spent, by the time you work, 23 frickin' years leeching off the government, between like all the stuff you got as a kid, all the government programs, government paying for your education, government paying for your degree, government paying for your schooling, all of it. And it's pretty damn funny to me when people will like, they'll turn around and be like, you need to pay your way. You're like, yeah, but as a foreigner, you also need to get it set up in a country. And I haven't benefited. So you have 5 years of 10% less taxes. And the funny part is those 5 years coincide with the time it takes to get settled in. And once you're a citizen, you've obviously naturalized the country, you go back to full taxes and you stay here for 30 years. And it's hilarious to see the Dutch people be so fudging short-sighted that they'll be like, oh, you gotta pay your way, why do you get a tax break? You should be taxed more so the country does better. And you're like, that's not, first of all, charge people less taxes so they settle into the country, stay there, and ultimately give a whole lot more money to the country, right? Like, let's just not be stupid. Second of all, and this is the bit that really always amuses me, but like, it tells you people are effing morons when it comes to the financials. There's something called the Laffer curve. So an economist and accountant did some studies on people. And what he studied was basically human motivation. He wanted to look into how taxes affect people's desire. Not like directly, but their desire to do things, spend money. Because obviously if you're getting taxed, and the way the brackets work, right, is you got to realize, for me to earn enough money to fall into a bracket, I also got to do a certain amount of effort. And the problem with the Laffer curve that people always forget is that's where it hits you. Because then people don't do stuff that's worth it. Because if I put in one amount of effort, right? If I put in effort level 1, right? So it's not too hard. And it turns out okay, and then I get the initial minimum wage payment. For me to get above that, for me to earn, like, let's say, in euro terms, right? I think the max tax is about 55%, which comes when you earn like 90,000 euros a month. 90,000 a year. That's a lot of effort. That's actually a lot of economic output. Even if I'm a salaried worker, I have to do enough work for somebody to pay me that much. And what people don't realize is typically, right, you get paid between 50% to 25% what you produce. So for a company, for it to be worth it for them to pay you 50,000, you have to be earning them between 100,000 and 200,000. And people will say, oh, it's unfair. Okay, cool, go start your own business. Oh, but I don't know how. I don't know how to do marketing, and I have to find clients. Yeah, not giving you the full amount because they had to do all that stuff, right? And in exchange, they're brokering the trade, and you're getting free shiz from them. Like, that's what you're getting for free. That's what a company is doing for you. Yes, they're doing all the other scummy stuff like stealing labor, blah, 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 but they're also brokering it to somebody else, like a third party, and you're getting paid where you otherwise wouldn't. You know, and okay, is it fair? Whatever, like, it's not their fault that you don't know how to negotiate, and yes, it sucks, and yes, it's unfair, and it's a mean thing for me to say, but we're just gonna deal in reality here. Anyways, that takes effort. So why would I make the effort if I'm not gonna get paid for it? Like, let's take being a doctor or a CA, right? It pays relatively well typically. Why would I do what is required to become a CA, to become a doctor, if I don't get financially rewarded for it? And that's the thing people don't seem to realize. They're like, oh, you should do it for fun. You're like, are you a CA? And they never be like, no. Like, okay. That's, I figured. I'm not shocked. Because everybody that's never done it or doesn't know anyone that's a chartered accountant all seem to think that there's like the chartered accountant school that you just show up. You know, you just show up to the chartered accountant school and they just print money out for you, and they give you a cert after you sit around and they pay you to be there. And it's like, that's not how it works at all, mate. Being a chartered accountant is probably one of the hardest career paths you can find because they want to charge highly. So they have the bar exam, and that bar exam gets harder every single freaking year. And even once you've passed it, you still have to continue to do certs and stuff, otherwise they'll revoke your chartered accountancy. It's to the point where if you want to be a CA, you probably have to study 5 or 6 years. That exam is so hard that, like, I've known plenty of people that have like expired and needed to redo their degree, because in 4 years, if you haven't gotten the bar exam, you need to redo the prereqs. And that exam itself, depending on where you do it, is anything from like 4 to 8 hours. Like, it's a monster of an exam, man. Now, why would that be relevant? Well, simple, really. It's effing hard. It's really hard. It's probably going to be one of the hardest things you'd ever do. And the same goes to becoming a doctor, by the way. Like, that's a lot of work, a lot of studying, a lot of stuff you do for free. And as much as people like, yeah, I just love helping people. Like, yeah, a doctor, no, they don't just love helping people, because doctors don't spend most of their life helping people. They spend most of their life watching people die and trying to save them, and just people won't listen. And then they die. And then they turn around and they're like, why didn't you do something? It's your fault my husband died. Even though you told him to lose weight because he's fat as heck. He just wouldn't, so now he died. Forever. He's dead because of you. That's what life of a doctor is like. Like, it is not glamorous. It's not all people being like, oh, yay. Like, you meet the pediatric hospitals. Yeah, that guy's whole job is to watch kids pass away. Like, so next time you're like, why does my podiatrist charge so much? Like, yeah, because the last 10 kids he met probably died. Like, of the last 10 kids, 3 of them died. You know, and he just had to watch that and be like, yeah, I know how to do something, but your parents won't listen. And so you're just gonna die. And you have to live with that, like the human cost of watching people neglect the hell out of their children. And it just chisels away at you. And it's like you deal with so much BS and so many morons. The same goes, like, to a lesser extent, obviously, but IT is like that. Yeah, it's not as bad, it's not as hard, nobody's passing away, but it's like any of these jobs, yes. Like, I walk in, for me at least, and I have to be on the ball. Like, I'm referring to deep work now. Like, I'm actually focused 100%, like, in there. There's no zoning out or whatever because I have to, like, focus. And you do that for, oh, I don't know, a couple hours every day. People be like, isn't that tiring? Like, yeah. Yeah, it is. Big surprise. That's the job. That's why they pay me. Because it sucks. Because nobody's going to pay you well to do a job that's easy or fun. Because everyone wants to do it because that's the nature of the things. Typically, the stuff that's necessary is hard. Like, why do you think a trash man, you know, people pick up trash, are typically well paid? It's garbage. The job is literal garbage. It sucks. Why do you think, like, let's go with America. I know this is more New York, but like the trash managers earn like $140,000 a year. State pension. People like, it's so unfair. Like, no, their job is terrible. You don't want to do their job. No one wants to do their job. That's what they have to pay to get any employees willing to, like, literally deal with garbage. And yet without them, all our lives would be basically done. And therein is the point. People forget that it's literally, you need some kind of reward. And like, people going, yeah, thank you, is like, yeah, tell you what, I could also be like a starving artist and have all the children thank me. The cheering. Be like, oh, thank you. And I'd be like, yay, they're cheering. They all thank me, yay. And then I could just not do this and I'd live a much better, easier life. Like, you could just make your life so much easier. But you don't. You work and you do something hard because it pays well. Because you have plans and you want to, like, because you'll find people are constantly like, oh, it's too much money. And you're like, yeah, you do earn too much. Except people also seem to forget, like, effort. I'm very annoyed that my frickin' thing went the wrong way. I'm one away. I'm so mad. But yeah, and that's the point. Like, people look at it and they just don't get it. They're like, dude, this stuff is hard. And a lot of effort goes into it. And like, it's bloody difficult to do some of these jobs. And the only reason you do it is because of the payoff. Now people will turn around and say, oh, we have to raise taxes because Bob doesn't deserve his... What happens when Bob one day is like, nah, I'm good. Those same people will be like, oh, I need a doctor desperately. I'll do anything for a kidney. Like, yeah, you'll do anything. Except not screw over every doctor because you want free stuff. Free shiz. But that's exactly my point again, is people will look at it and they'll be like, oh no, we need more taxes. If we just tax 5% more, we can end poverty. It's like, no, you won't. If you tax... Probably, right? The Netherlands is probably as it could be because they tax the rich, and you tend to become rich when you're either an entrepreneur or like an actual high performer and you do stuff, and that's, you know, follows the 80-20 rule. So top 20% of society produces all the economic input, and sure, they don't all get paid according to what they're worth. Sure, yes, some of them get screwed over. That's cool. That's a different problem. But in order to take care of 80% of society, you burden the 20% that actually does something. And then you gotta realize that there's a strain there, because now you get somebody that's highly accomplished and they're like, I could right, go start a business, make the whole world better, I could go be a scientist, which pays nothing, by the way. Like, being a scientist pays really meh, because it's one of those jobs that everyone like taxes out the wazoo, and they're like, oh, we don't need scientists. Hey, you could go be a scientist. You know those guys that pick up fraud when other people steal money, you know that job? The job where they'll literally kill you because you're making a big corp look bad. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, yep, those are the ones that people are like, yeah, we don't need you. Skip. You don't need to be paid. So like, I could go down that job. I could go be a doctor, study for like, I don't know, 10 years and save people's lives. Or I could follow option B and just be poor and not work really hard. And like maybe go do some like factory work or something, you know. Because that's the point, and that's the thing people don't realize. You lose your talented individuals, they lose the reason to work. Because yeah, they're high economic output and some people just like doing it, you know. But realize that for every one of those guys, so many more people like, or what I could do is go work a desk job. I could quarter ass it, right? I could work 2 hours every day and like watch podcasts or play computer games the next like, you know, 5-6 hours. Everyone's like, oh no, that's unfair. You're like, huh? It just sounds like sour grapes to me, but the point is more than the fact that, yeah, it's unfair that Bob over there gets to do free time while I have to work my ass off. Yeah, as Bob normally would be working his ass off becoming a doctor, but now if you've made it non-economical to become a doctor, what's Bob supposed to do? Become a doctor anyway and be a slave? Like, realize that is slavery. Like, you're stealing someone's economic output. That's the literal definition of making them into a slave. I died. But anyways, back to good old Bob. Let's use Bob in my examples. Bob does everything. He's a great guy. Incredible human. A monster and a hero. Which is he? We never could tell. But anyway, so you steal the economic output, and the more economic output you take, the less people are inclined to work harder because they just don't see the benefit. Like, if I am a top, like, produce 80% of the output of the world, right? A top 20%. You realize you're getting taxed like 50%, so you have to work twice as hard for half the result. And the thing is, we as humans optimize that at about 24%. So as soon as we get about, we have to work roughly 50% harder than what we get. Roughly like 30 to 50%. We start downgrading the amount of effort you put in. Because it's just like, oh no, I don't want that. So, and this is the failing of like every big socialist state. Like typically they do well, and then they just screw it up. And then it's like, yeah, look, I'm fine with having a good medical system. That's cool. But people need to realize, like, you can't just tax yourself rich. You can tax yourself poor. Can't tax yourself rich. That's not a thing. And it's weird because everybody seems to think it is. Like, a lot of people like, yeah, we just need to charge the rich. Like, dude, the rich will leave. And what happens? Do you think the rich just got rich because they just like, okay, nah, I'm fine. I'm not gonna screw Microsoft. Be like, yeah, damn, Microsoft bad. Like, okay, so how are you gonna run computers? People will do it for free. Guess what? For the most part, those guys, they also get paid to do it. And now they're also like, you know, like, we'll move to Linux. Yeah, the Linux guys don't care. They're also quitting. They're becoming factory workers. Now they're super productive factory workers, so they can work for 2 hours, put out the same amount of stuff, and they know how to bargain. So they'll like bargain out for like, yeah, I'll, based on produce, you know, they'll start their own little factory company maybe, you know. They'll do something to like work less than everybody else. But in the end, they stop doing it. Like, where's the doctors? Oh, the doctors decided they don't like getting taxed 30% either. So, you know, the doctors said, I'll go do something. I'll become a nurse. Sounds great until there are no more doctors. And, as much as I'm being a little bit facetious here, the point still remains, and this is the bit, you are experiencing this. And it's been shown that it happens. It's the Laffer. We've known about the Laffer curve for years, and the Laffer curve kicks in about 24% tax. as soon as you're over that, people are disincentivized to produce. Because as much as we hate it, as much as it's like, oh no, people steal your production, your earning is still related. But it's like, why wouldn't you? Why would you produce? Isn't the point? So yeah, it's always weird to me that people don't realize that. And yeah, I'm sure I've probably not done the best presentation, whatever. But every time people are like, oh, we'll just do this thing and everyone are at my favors, and people are like, you know, full on communists. Oh, we all just get the same thing. Like, okay, so why would I work hard then? I say this as somebody that works fairly hard and gets paid reasonably well, and I'm very good at what I do. Like, I'm not blowing smoke. There are people that are better than me at CSS, but like at my like my own little specialty, which has largely got to do with like debugging and systemization, I think I'm one of the best people. I haven't met many people that have been like, wow, I want to be as good as this guy. Like, typically I'm the body guy that's sitting there coming up with, well, let me not brag, but like, it's typically me that's doing the, hey guys, we should do this. And 6 months later, after everyone's tried through, it's like, oh yeah, why don't we do this thing? Okay. Is it ego? Maybe. I'm not holding it against people, but it is like a recurrent theme. Pretty funny, actually, once you learn to recognize it. But yeah, the fact remains, I'm very good at what I do. Now, it's a bit underutilized, but I'm still good at what I do. So the question is, what happens then? When all the people that are good at what they do are just like, yeah, nah. Like, why would I continue to work that hard if I don't get paid for it? Like, I already have that problem, right? Like, it's already a consideration. Like, if I want to earn something, I have to work pretty damn hard. So it's like, yeah, I could go be better and just do my high output skill, and like entertaining is a bit high output. Like, you may not produce as much like hard, you know, technological progress, you know, enablement of people, but there's something to be said. And I'm saying pure entertainment, not like teaching. You may not produce as much in that regard, in the like strictest sense. It doesn't mean you're not valuable, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be paid. But the point is still, like, why would you do that? If you look at the other side, and it's like, yeah, instead of that, I could just not. Yeah, go wait tables or something. But that's the thing, like, it's not worth it for me either, so what is the point? Like, okay, go, then you don't do anything. You don't do anything extra because it's not worth it. And people are like, oh, why are nobody doing more? We need more economic mass. Because really, when people say they're poor, what they mean is we don't have enough economic mass to produce what we need at such a scale and or surplus that everybody can afford it. That's kind of the translation. Like, why is Coke cheap? Because there's a lot of it produced. Like, go look how much jelly costs, right? Jello, good old jelly. You know, a can of freeze-dried Jello costs like, I don't know, 10 euro cents. Realize that's a perfect example, because that stuff is almost impossible to make yourself. Like, it's actually almost impossible to make, like, any jelly-based thing. The gelatin, almost impossible to make yourself. Stupid complex process, really difficult. A lot of steps, a lot of filtering that goes into it. Like, you have to basically run it through like these almost molecular sized sieves to sieve out the protein that flavor the gelatin, like pork, like, and like meat. Like, we're not talking a small amount of effort, we're talking like real big boy effort here. And it's cheap as hell because enough people do it, because so many people wanted it and so many people did it that, like, there's so much jelly floating around that jelly became cheap. And that's the thing, like, if people are all producing value, there's so much value that it's easy to get. If so many people are busy working on a farm, it's easy to get. But then you turn around and go, okay, well, what happens if people are disincentivized from doing the things that produce the most value because they don't get rewarded for them? Well, they stop doing it. Sounds sounds pretty reasonable to me. Well, like, yeah, but that'd be bad. You're like, okay, so what are you gonna do if you create your regime now, right? We've got our regime. It's a paradise. Cool. Yeah, Bob says he doesn't want to be a doctor anymore. Why? Well, he's not gonna get a different house. He's not gonna get a different place. He's not gonna stay somewhere else. Like, how are you gonna compel him to work and be a doctor? You're not rewarding him in any way, shape, or form. Why would he go through the stress of having to deal with people constantly telling Bob that, oh, you killed my aunt and uncle. Horrible monster. You should have done better. And I know I'm using a doctor, but really this applies to everything. Like, I'll use my own job as an example. Why would I program? Like, yeah, it's fun, but like, I'll have fun. Like, I go be a freaking plumber. Or like a carpenter. I like working with wood, actually. Yeah, I'll go be a blacksmith. There we go. Well, we need devs. We need people to run this, make the software that runs the world. It makes it easy and cheap for us to get, like, you know, power everywhere. Because, you know, software makes it possible to get power. We need engineers who build the factories. Like, yeah, but why would I be an engineer? Why would I be a dev? Like, why? What would possess me to do this thing? Like, do I look like somebody that just likes making an effort? Like, no. You could just do half the effort and come off fine. So why would you do it? Okay, well, now you get into, well, we force them to work. Oh. How you gonna do that? We're gonna put them in a camp and put them to work. And you're like, oh, okay. You just want to enslave the productive people, I see. You don't want to work, so you're gonna make everyone else a slave. And people always like, that's not what I mean. It's like, it kind of is. It's kind of exactly what you mean. You just don't want to say it because it sounds horrible, because it is. And the funny part is, I really have had this discussion with plenty of people. And they're like, well, we needed this. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do? Why would they work? Because that's the right thing to do. Yeah, but why is it the right thing it's the right thing for you for them to do it. But like, what are you going to do to make them work? I'm going to force them at gunpoint. Oh. That's a slave. And also, what happens if they say no? I'll shoot him. Okay, what happens when you shot every doctor? Because eventually every human's just going to be like, either they're going to check out, which happens with employees, by the way. If you're an employer and you've ever noticed, like, you had a previously good employee and they just suddenly become terrible. Yeah, you're underpaying them. Like, I don't care what people say about, oh, money's not the big motivator. We're a family. You know what we're a family means? It means I'm about to underpay you. Because, you know, family. That's his own corporate, like. I'm just here's a hint. If ever a job says you're a family, act like a family and then just massively take advantage of them. Because you're a family doesn't mean we'll take care of you. It means we're a family, so I'm going to expect you to do a whole bunch of stuff for me without any reward. Like every abuser ever. Families take care of and love each other, right? So you gotta do this for me. Nah. Nah, fam. As my one friend would say, unsubscribe. We're a family, right? Unsubscribe. Can't unsubscribe to family? I just did. But yeah, that's my point. Like, and I always find it weird because people don't know these things. And like, didn't they teach you in high school? Like, didn't you take economics or accounting? Like, yeah, I took accounting, but like, didn't you learn like that this is what it means? Oh, but they told us that tax doesn't hurt production. Like, yeah, just because you got been taxed out the backside for the last 10 years, I guarantee you it's hurt production. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Everybody is like, oh, I use the welfare system and I really... Like, yeah, you're not on the productive end. Okay? Wait till you get there. Because I guarantee you, it's the people that are like, no, it doesn't matter if you're an artist or a doctor. Like, society needs one. That's That's all I can say, my friend. Like, society has needs. But even better yet, like, why would you be a farmer? Everyone's like, oh, I love animals. Like, have you farmed? Like, not like sustenance farmer, like farmer. You know, the guys that actually do the work. Okay, guys, thanks for joining the stream. I'm gonna drop. I'll be